Hi guys, it's great to see you again. I'm Miss Joli and I'll be your visual artist for this lesson. Today we're going to be talking about folk tales and we're going to create a folk artwork. And we're also going to be reviewing the elements of story. The materials we're going to need: a blank piece of paper, pencil, eraser in case you need, and of course a cup of crayons. Here's a picture, the storyboard of HuGuPo. Remember, it was from China, and HuGuPo was actually the name of the tiger. Okay, remember the two daughters? The mother had left, the mother's telling them bye, and the two daughters are here. The youngest one is Liwa, and the oldest one is Aixing. And remember, the tiger actually tricks them by being the old lady, and they poke their way out with the stick that had the silk threads on it, and they tied the tiger up at the end. That's how they got away. Now here, and that tale again was from China. This one is from Africa, and the name of this one is Tselane. And here's Tselane, and her mother is with her here, and the mother tells her not to open the door to anyone, including the leopard. But the mother had this high voice, so she'd always listen for the mother's voice. But one time the leopard tricked her. It took some type of liquid that made its voice high after it tried a few times, and it failed. So the child, Tselane, thought that the leopard was her mother. So the leopard was able to catch her and stick her in the sack. But now somebody walking by let her loose when the leopard was drinking. And then the mother found out about it and filled the sack full of scorpions and snakes. So when the leopard came back for the bag and rushed it back home to where it lived, when it opened it up, it found a big surprise. So we're going to compare and contrast both of these stories. There's HuGuPo and Tselane. Remember, both of the stories, when we're comparing, that means we're looking for similarities. Both of the stories have girls who open the door. The girls were also carried in a sack. They both had their mother in the story. They both were girls in the story, and both of them had big cats. Well, of course, one was a tiger, one was a leopard, but they're in the big cat family. Now, to contrast that, or look for the difference, HuGuPo was the name of the tiger, and Tselane was the name of the young girl in this story. And like I said, she gets rescued by another child, whereas they poke a hole in the bag and they run away. They were able to tie up the tiger and run away. Okay, here's a little map of the world. And in our stories, HuGuPo came from the Asian area, actually China. And Tselane came from Africa. Totally two different continents. But both of the stories are very similar. Here is a picture of Africa close up. I think Asia and all that's on this side in the Middle East. And here's Africa. And here is a picture of Asia. See Asia? And China is actually this area here. See how it's all colored in here? It's kind of a close-up of it. This is where China is in Asia. Now remember, our stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning, the middle, and the end. All right? The elements of a story, or the things that are found in the story. We have the characters, and sometimes the characters are people, and sometimes they're animals. Okay? And then the setting is where the story takes place. Like starts off at the home and then it ends somewhere else later. And over here it starts off at her home and it ends somewhere else. We end it somewhere else, but it's where it's taking place. The plot is what happens in the story, or the events of the story. I like to think of plot is a lot. So I'm thinking of all of the pictures together. So that's the connection of all the stories, all the storyboards together, and they're in the order that it happened. Okay, the conflict is the problems the character faces. See, the HuGuPo, they face HuGuPo, who's the problem, and they have to try to get away from him. And over here in Tselane, the leopard is the problem, and she's got to get away from it. And the mom kind of helps out by surprising the leopard with a goodie bag there. All right. Even though the stories are created in different places of the world, they can be very similar and have similar conflicts and problems to deal with. Now, fiction is when a story could not really happen. It's make-believe. Now, folktale, which these are folktales, they are fiction because they're make-believe. They're not real. A proverb is a short traditional saying passed along orally from generation to generation. The saying usually expresses a general truth based on an experience and an observation of everyday life. But the folk tales are made up long ago in that area where that story comes from, in that culture. Folk tales can teach lessons just like fables and fairy tales can. There is something we can learn and use in our lives. That happens through all of the events in the story. Now, a fable is a short story with an animal or an object as a character that teaches a lesson, if we can remember back in our fables. Remember Aesop's fables. Now, fairy tales, that's a children's story about magical and imaginary beings and lands. And the folk tales, they originated from the popular culture of that area. And they came back from a long time ago. And they're passed down by word of mouth from one generation to the next. Today we're going to be doing an artwork about folk tales and folk art. So we're going to need our piece of paper, our pencil, eraser, and our cup of crayons. Okay, now guys, I'm going to go ahead and use some markers on here so that you can see it. And we're going to talk about folk art, and this is a couple of pictures of folk art. This one is folk art of Africa, and this one's of China. Now notice the little houses in there. And we're going to do the stories, stuff similar in our stories. Tselane and HuGuPo. So remember, Tselane came from Africa and HuGuPo came from China. So it's going to reflect that in our story. All right. So get your pencil or a crayon. You can use a black crayon for this if you want to do pencil to start off and then trace that one big part. That will work perfect in black because you don't want to mess up in a black. So get your pencil first and you're going to trace the part I'm going to start off with. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use a kind of curved line and we're going to create two tails because these are folk tales and they're about two big cats. So, and cats have tails. So I'm going to go ahead and create a tail. It'll be a tail for one of my cats. And let's see, I'm going to do another curved line for another cat. Let's see, let's just do it this way. Maybe I can lead up to it. And so I have two tails here, okay? So if you want to go ahead and grab your black crayon, you did it in pencil, and go ahead and trace your tails with your black, okay? Remember, one will be a tiger, and one will be a leopard. It doesn't matter which one you want. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and basically this one's gonna be a tiger. I might do it upside down. It doesn't matter. When cats lay down, they turn it all different directions. Let's see. And I'm going to be blacking these out. I'll black them out some more as we keep going. So you could do that with your black crayon, okay? And when I'm coloring, I'm going to come back and color over that. And I'll come back and color over this too. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to just turn this way. I like to. Because tigers have what? They have what? Do they have spots and dots? No, they have stripes. I like to come back over it and over it. See, as I get further on closer to the tail, I can go all the way across because they'll go all the way across. And I'll thicken it up as I go. All right, so we have that one. We're gonna go ahead and think leopards, do they have stripes? No, they have spots and dots, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do like a little circle. And this is almost like a little zigzag that's really close together. And some of those little zigzags, the center can be dark. I'm gonna just make mine with a hole in the middle of them. Look like almost zigzag donuts. Who likes donuts in here? See, I'm always talking about food. I'm getting hungry. Remember what story had the tiger? That story was HuGuPo. And the story that had the leopard was Tselane. Okay, I'll come back to that. Oh, and we can do some more. Let's see. So this is my 2 tiger tails. And on one side, I'm going to have one country. And the other side, I'm going to have the other country. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put one country on this side. Oh, let me show you. I did forget to show you my tiger tails and my leopard tails. See the leopards? They have spots and dots. See how we're making them? I know you're still working on them. See how they have the dots and the spots on the leopard tail? Sometimes you can see through it, sometimes you can't. All right, the very end of it, it has a little white with it, so that will be fine. Over here we have our tiger tails. So one of them will be the tiger tail. Look, see how it has like black that goes all the way across. But now I'm kind of showing mine kind of laying down. So part of it will be kind of white and the other part won't be. Because the underneath, you know, you have your pet. The underneath your pet is lighter. So is the tails of the animals. See if you notice here on the leopard. See how the underneath is a little lighter? Yeah. So that's how come we have the tails. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to think of our architecture of those different areas. Now we're going to have China on one side and Africa on the other. Let's look at some Chinese architecture. See that some of the Chinese architecture. Now, not all of these are this style. That's kind of called Pagoda Style. Not all of the architecture has the little lip up. Actually, these are from China, but not only China, all of Asia basically has this, including Japan. Japan has some, as well as China. They do have a little variance, a little difference in between them. To give you a hint, when the Chinese were building, they thought that demons like straight lines, so that's why they kind of curved it upwards. All right, and look, here's Pagoda Style home. See how you would see that in China, and also a couple of little areas. See how they kind of come up? They have that little curve upward. This one also has like a little bridge. If you'd like to put a little bridge later on in your artwork, that'd be fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and think of China, and I'm going to go ahead and pull out my marker. And let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and do China up here. Let's see, I'm gonna start off by doing, say, one of the little homes, the little houses, and I'm gonna curve it up, and then I'm gonna curve it up. See how it's gonna follow the little curve. See the curve kind of curves up. This one's gonna curve up, and it's gonna go up here, almost like a little cat ears, huh? There we go. And here's my rectangle. When I'm looking at the building, it looks like a what? A what? A rectangle. And I'm going to come back and I'll fill in that one. Over here, I'm going to just, for fun, I want to do one of those big buildings that they have sometimes. I like to draw straight lines. Sometimes I turn it in sideways to draw straight lines. Now on each one of these, I'm going to go up. See, these two go together, and this one's going to go up, and then it's going to go together. It's going to go up. Good job, good job. And this side, because it curves upward, and then these will curve down. And then so I have it basically there. Sometimes they have a little extension up there. I'm gonna put a little rectangle in the middle here. I think I'm gonna switch to my shorter, my smaller, my finer marker. And I'm gonna just draw some lines coming down. And this could be the doorway. You could actually have steps coming here. And I like to do either number 11s or little dashed lines, and I come back down the other way. I like to do all my lines going the same direction so that it looks, it's easier to think of doing them kind of parallel. Remember, parallel lines are two lines that go the same direction, same distance, and they never meet, they never touch. Okay, and let's see, I'm gonna do a little rectangle here. Remember all the shapes that we see when we're looking at houses? It's going to take us a while to do this, so that's why I'm just kind of going through. If you're still on one of them, either one you want, you could just do them all with one kind. I like to just show you a couple of different styles so you can pick which one you want. If you want them both in there, no problem. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of trees. Curve and a curve, curve and a curve, and this one might be kind of egg-shaped. Of course, if you want to do a lot of little sections, I'm just doing this one really quick. Okay, and that's going to be my ground mark for this side of the paper. And let's see, I could have a mountain maybe in the background. All right, let's see, might put me a little walkway. A little walkway. Maybe something's on the other side of the paper here. There we go. Well, let me go ahead and put something inside my tree. You know how the tree would go? Your little branches almost reminds you of a little leaf. It can. If you want to do little spirals in there, that would work. I might add more as I go. Okay, on this side here, this is what country? China. And in China, we had the tigers of China. Over here, all of this side will be Africa. And we have I'm gonna go ahead and put our sun in Africa. And we have mountains, possibly in the distance, depends on where it is. Sometimes it can be on a mountain. Yeah, let's say we might have a little bit of different, a hill in the area. And let's see, oh, I know, I'm gonna show you a picture of the house. House is there. They do have other styles. This is one of the styles of African homes they have. All right. Notice what they're made of. Sometimes it's made of the dirt, the clay, and the tops can be straw and such. See, this is another traditional style African home. This is how the trees would look. See how the trees would look? I think I'm gonna go ahead and put me a tree on here. Let's see, I'm gonna put me a tree. I'm gonna put me a tree coming up here. Here's my tree. Maybe it's got a little knot in it. And now when I'm coloring, I can color it any way I want. Sometimes I put little spirals or swirls in there. I'm gonna put me another one over here. Looks kind of like little clouds. I have a habit of kind of talking softly when I'm doing this. I'm trying to bring it so that you can hear it. So this is the Africa. And remember, Tselane is the character that was in the story here. Let's see, I was doing a curve somewhere here. Here is my door. I have a couple of windows. Now they have the thatched roofs. I'll put a little zigzag at the bottom. Actually, I can go ahead and put a few little, I'm gonna do that with my crayons as well. See, it kind of almost looks like a what shape? A triangle shape, but I gave it kind of a curve here. Over here, it's more triangle, but with a little zigzag at the bottom. It's my little window. Now, since this is the clay that it's made of, I'm gonna go ahead and see the clay that's here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some little cracks in the dirt that's there. See, it's actually, it comes from dirt. Yeah, it kind of makes it look really cool. All right, I'm gonna put me somebody walking, because remember the mother had taken off for a while. I'm gonna do a big number 11. Big, well actually a really thin number 11. And I'm gonna do 2 little feet, really easy. Look, see, 2 little feet. And they like to wear little necklaces, so that's my little necklace, and here's gonna be a little oval for the head. That's about as far as I'm gonna go in the body. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of arms, one arm here, and one arm's gonna go on the top. It's gonna be holding something. They've learned that they can stack stuff and carry heavier things on their head by balancing it on their head. Makes it really easier to carry things for long distances, especially in the heat. All right, let me put some lines in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull out some crayons and start working with some crayons. Let's see. This is basically what my picture is gonna look like. And we're gonna start coloring, but I have a feeling you won't finish because we only have about like 5 minutes. So at recess, if you get a second, you can go ahead and color it in. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little blue sky here. And remember, you can go ahead and mix the color. Don't be scared to mix the color. You learn about blending and mixing. You learn about that in the stories. You learn about that. And remember, we talked about our elements of our story. We talked about the character That's the person in the story or the animal in the story. The animals can be characters too. We have the setting where the story took place. And we have the plot. That's all of your scenes in the story that come together. That's going to be brown. Maybe some of my mountain. I like to put brown and purples and mix that in there. Let me show you. This is what I'd like. Sometimes I just spin around inside the trees and I color them up that way. And then I add more to them later. Sometimes I add different colors inside, but if I get this way, it has some green in it. Remember our plot again, like I said, it was the order the story took place. And it has all the pictures in it, the storyboard of what everything was in the story. And the conflict is the problem that the characters face. I really enjoy working with you, and I hope you get to finish up your project. If you'd like, send me some of those pictures. We can check us out on Facebook, and we can take a look at all those pictures that my students turn in. I like to put some in my sun and my ground. It could be sandy. So send me some pictures on Facebook and we'll see. You can show off your fabulous artwork, my students and their artwork. See purple, a little purple in the mountains with brown. So I hope you really enjoyed yourself. I did. And I can't wait to see you again next time. I'm going to actually color all of this bottom down here, some greens. And I'm going to mix it up. I'll color all the bottom greens. I like to mix the colors, so I will put the other colors in it. So see what I did here? As I really didn't finish it, but I started it. See how I like to add the colors inside? That's what your artwork. You can just keep adding and adding and adding to it till it comes alive. A tiger tail. Look how I did that. I put the orange and little red at the very tip and a little yellow, and that's underneath of my tail. And how cats lay down and sometimes they show you the underneath of the tail. I kind of did that. We compared and contrasted two folk tales. That was HuGuPo and Tselane. We learned that a folk tale is a fiction, and that means it's make-believe. It's really not real. These stories were created long ago by a particular culture, and they're told over and over through time. Folk tales can teach students lessons, and they learn that through the events of the story. As you're going through your week, notice the stories that you hear. Think of your own folk tale about your family. How would your story be similar or different from the folk tales we've studied? Enjoy the rest of your day. I can't wait to see you next time.